Yay! We are live now. Good evening, everyone. Happy Sunday to you. Please just give me 1 minute. Let me share this now, please. Um, 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 Good evening, everyone. You can hear me? Good evening, everyone. How are we all doing today? You're welcome to School of Parenting with Dumibin. And happy Sunday to you all. Thank you so much for always joining me. Thank you for doing this parenting with me. I do not take your time for granted. And also, thank you for trusting me to do this with you. I really appreciate. So today we're going to be talking about child's identity. Your child, my child's identity. Every child is incredible. If you can hear me, if you are joining me for the first time, and if you can see me, please put it in the comment section. Every child is incredible. Every child is one of a kind. There's no one else, I said, who is exactly like your child. Your child is only your child. There's no other child in this world that is as same as your child. What makes your child your child? What makes my son, like my son Golden, what makes Golden Golden? What makes your own child your child? It's either their personality, it's the way they look, it's the things they believe, what they believe, it is where they come from, it is who is raising them, where the person who is raising them, what the person who is raising them what the person who is raising them know, the environment they are raising them, and the environment they are raising them. So all of this is what make my son Golden. All of this, his personality, who is raising them, the environment, what they think, their belief, all of this is what make your own child, that your child, those your children, is what make them your children, what make them who they are. And it is simply called identity. Can somebody put it in the comment section? Identity. Identity. That is what we're going to be looking at. Your child's identity. What makes your child? What makes your child who your child is his it comprises of his personality, his belief, what he thinks, where he's from, who is raising him, what the person who is raising him knows, the environment is raising him, and many of all of this is what makes your child your child. And this is what we call identity. Just like recipe for cake, you want to make cake. When you want to make cake, you need you don't just need a flour to make a cake. No. When you want to make a cake, you need flour, you need milk, you need what else? What do we can somebody remind me of the things we used to make cake? We need flour, we need butter, yes, we need any flavor you want. We need milk as well, right? So bringing all of these things together, all of these ingredients together is what makes a cake. Same thing is applicable to your child. When you bring all of these things I mentioned, their personality, the way they learn, the way that they think, their belief, who is raising them, the environment. When we bring all of this together, is what makes your child. And this is what we call identity. So today we're going to be learning how to give our child, identity, the gift of identity. Remember, the best gift we can give our children is the gift of a parenting advantage. And for you to give your child that parenting advantage, it is dependent on what you know, what you know is what will help you give your child a parenting advantage. What will make your child have a parenting advantage. So today, one of those advantages you're going to be giving your child is the gift of Sorry, I'm hearing myself. Is the gift of identity. Wow. The gift of identity. Thank you, Esther. Thank you for joining in. The gift of identity. Just like I said, everything, just like the cake, your child's identity is made up of different parts. Just like we all know puzzles. Puzzles, if one piece is missing, it can't make a whole. One piece of puzzle, if it's missing, no matter how tiny that puzzle is, it can't make a full puzzle. It can't make a whole puzzle. Same as our child. If all of these things are identified or have named, if he's missing, our child cannot have what is called full identity. Remember, we're raising a holistic child. For a child to thrive, for a child to thrive, a child must be raised holistically. All of these things must be put in place. It is not just raising a child, maybe you give your child an identity and then other parts is missing. No, putting all of these things together is what it means to raise a child that thrives, and that is our aim. That is what we are working on. Now, different parts will make different people, just as different ingredients makes cake. Say, for example, you want to make like chocolate cake. We have different kinds of cake, right? We have chocolate cake, we have the coconut cake, my favorite. We have the vanilla, my favorite also. Say we want to make maybe like chocolate cake, you need other ingredients plus that chocolate itself, maybe chocolate flavor or chocolate whatever to make that chocolate cake. Same as you want to make maybe like you want to make maybe coconut, you also need coconut flavor or the real coconut to make coconut flavor, right? Because if you don't have all these things, you can't make okay, imagine the whole world, everything we have is just chocolate cake, chocolate cake, chocolate cake. How will it look like? Same thing is applicable to our children. You know, all of our children, they have different personalities. They are, like I said, there's no two child that is the same. Your child is unique, and your child is unique in their own way. And what makes your child who your child is what we call identity, and that is what we'll be looking at. So imagine every one of us in this world, we are all the same. All of us are quiet, or all of us are social butterfly. Social butterfly. There's no one telling the other calm down, or there's no one, everyone wants to be at the front, everyone wants to talk. There's no one, sitting behind to even listen to who is talking. What do you think will happen to this world? What do you think? It will be boring. It will be very, very boring if, or say, all of us is, very quiet. Everyone is quiet. Nobody's talking. Who is going to make the noise? Who is going to make the whole environment bubbling? To bubble. So we need all of these personalities. We need all of these different parts to make us who we are, like to make the world a better place, you know. So irrespective of your child is, whether your child is maybe the quiet type or your child is still your child, and you can give your child the gift of identity by the gift of knowledge you're going to gain today. Now, giving your child identity means, okay, like I said here, I said, okay, just as I always say, give your child the gift of inheritance. You know, give your child the gift of heritage, not inheritance. Because with inheritance, they will sell. If you give them inheritance, they will sell their. If you give them inheritance, they will sell it. But if you give them heritage, they will not sell it. So the gift you can give to your child is a gift of heritage, not inheritance. And part of the heritage you'll be giving to them is a gift of identity. Is a gift of identity. Giving your child heritage means you giving them identity. Now let's see the forms of identity we can give to our child. First is spiritual identity. If you can still hear me, raising holistic child. Yeah. If you can still hear me and if you can see me, please put it in the comment section. And please, can you please help me share this live session? Let's invite our friends, our loved ones, because we don't want to learn alone. We don't want to be the one, we want to share it so others too can learn, can know what we are learning. So first is spiritual identity. Dear parents, the greatest gift you can give your child is the gift of eternal life. I'll say it again. The greatest gift you and I can give to our children is the gift of identity, and that's the gift of eternal life, and that is the gift of spiritual identity. It is not in me or you, it is not me. Like I said, it's not me who give that is eternal life. I don't give it, I don't have power to say receive eternal life. No. But God used me, God have put me in that place, God have put me in that position. Remember, I'm co-parenting with him. He has seen that I'm capable, I have what it takes to raise my child. So he has placed me in that position to, as a tool to be able to help my child, help have that eternal life, that gift of eternal life. Because what is in this world if your child does not have eternal life, if they don't know Christ and all? Now, how do you achieve this? How do you give your child this gift of eternal life? It's first through praying for them. We can't take the place of prayer for granted. We must always pray for children. We pray for them. Pray for God to touch their hearts. Pray for God to minister to their heart. God to always reach their hearts. It's our responsibility to teach our children what matters to God. This does not mean that will be forcing them to maybe coming to certain this does not mean we'll be forcing them to maybe certain beliefs or certain ideologies, maybe like you must close your eyes to pray. I've seen one of my relation, get beaten off his life because he did not close his eyes to pray. No, you must not force them without even telling the child why he needs to pray and why he does not like to why he needs to close his eyes to pray, or why he's not closing his eyes to pray. All they did was why you must close your eyes to pray and all that. This is them forcing the child into ideology, their own ideology, that you must close your eyes to pray. You know, but you using your everyday life to show them real faith, your everyday life, your day-to-day life to show your children real faith is you giving them spiritual identity. It is not in you shouting at them, you are home, the vampire, the conqueror, the lion is here. No, that is not who you are. That is not how you can give your children the gift of spiritual identity. No. Or quarreling, condemning them, or you and your spouse, constantly raising your voice at each other, all of those things. When you do those things, you can't give your children the gift of spiritual identity. And also remember that children learn more from what they see us do than what we say to them. You can be telling a child, oh, don't fight, don't quarrel. And every day you and your partner, you're fighting, you are raising your voices at them, you are yelling, raising your voice, all of those things. Your children will believe that it's okay to raise your voice. They will see it as normal. And ideally, you want to give your child the spiritual identity. It will not make sense to them. They won't have that gift. It won't come natural in them because they will not believe in itself. Even if you are preaching to them, you must give your life to Christ. They won't believe in it. They won't believe in your God because they will see that you're not preaching it. Also, daily reflecting on God's image for them is how you can give them spiritual identity, reflecting on who God is to them. As parents, we must influence our children. Remember, we are their role models. You know, they watch everything you and I do, either good or bad. And then they will emulate the things we do daily. Whatever we are doing, if we're doing well, doing things right, they will emulate it. They will watch it, they will see it, and then they will emulate it. If it's wrong, they will do the same. So the choice is you and I, to make. Also, Ephesians chapter 5, 1 to 2 reminds us that we are imitators of God. So we should walk in love as Christ loves us. This is a reminder that our children are in our care, that the children in our care, that children are in our care, and that they will learn how to love, how to talk by watching us do the same. The same way we talk, the same way we relate to people out there, the same way we behave. It's the same thing. Our children are going to replicate it. Because remember, they are watching us, they are seeing it. When they imitate you, you are imitating Christ. And by so doing, they will learn what it means to follow Christ. And when they follow Christ, that is you giving them the gift of spiritual identity. Now, that is knowing God for who they are, for who God is. Because you want them to know God for who God is. It's not you forcing them to know God. It's not you you must pray, you must close your eyes, you must read Bible. No, it should come natural for them. That is why I said, let God be the one to touch their heart. Let it be the one to pierce. You are a tool. You don't have the power to do all those things, but you are a tool that God can use by introducing them to all of these things. When you introduce them to Christ, you pray for them. It is God who does the work. That is it. And then another form of identity you can give your child is name identity. The name identity, name, Name identity. Dear parents, what's your child's identity? Let me just simply say, who is your child? What is your child's name? Does your child feel, what does your child feel about their name? Does your child know how to pronounce their name? Do they love their name? Do they like their name? How do they feel? Or how do they feel when you call their name, how do they feel? How do they always feel? Do they feel, I don't like it? Do they feel angry? Do they feel excited about their name? Do they love it? Are they proud of their name? Remember that this big choice you have made over your child's name can play a huge role in shaping how they see themselves, how others see them. The name you give them, it will shape how they see themselves, selves, and how others sees them. Also it will shape who they will become in future. See this name of a thing. My child is Golden, child is Oma, your child is Jennifer, Jessica. All of this name we give our children. Bolanle, Adebola, all of this name will form who your child will become in future. And that's how the world is going to see your child, and that's how they are going to communicate to your child. So meaning the name you give it to your child is so important. You just can't wake up and just give your child a name. No. Um, that reminds me of my daughter. My daughter, she's called Omanibe. Omanibe. So I read a book for them. I'll share the story of that book in a minute. The book is called Nefertiti. So we're reading that book. After reading it, so the after reading the book, and then I asked her, what do you think about your name? And she said, oh, no, before we finish, she's like, oh, mommy, do you know, people call me, my friends, they don't know how to call my name. They call me Oma, Oma. I said, oh, really? And what do you do? How does that make you feel? She said, funny. I said, oh, really? Funny? Okay, do you want to teach them how to pronounce your name? She said, yes. And then we practice Oma Nibe, Oma. No, I first said, because a lot of people, they call her Oma. Her name is Omanibe. Her full name is Omanibe, but everyone, even me, I call her Oma. Everyone call her Oma. So I'm like, do you want them to start calling you Omanibe? She said no, that she likes Oma. I said, okay, fine. So so we had to practice how she can tell her friends if they call her Oma, how she can teach them, oh, sorry, that's not my name. Teach them how to pronounce her name well, Oma or Omanibe, and then we practice it, we role played it. You don't have to be rude about it. Just say, excuse me, that's not my name. I'm going to teach you how to pronounce it, and then we did it. And to also show you that she lives her name. Her name is Omanibe, and it means a child of wisdom. Omanibe, a child of wisdom. So there was a day, everyone knows, if you are close to me, you know that Omanibe and my sister, they are very close, like they are 5 and 6. They both love themselves so much. And Omanibe is my sister's favorite, while my son Golden is my brother's wife favorite, you know. So there was a day all of us were together, and my sister asked Oma, between me and your that's my brother's wife, who do you love most? And she just looked at both of them, looked at all of us. Do you know what this girl said? She said, I love both of you. And she gave them a hug. It just reminded me of her living her name. Her name is what? A child of wisdom. She would have said, fine, my auntie, everyone knows I love you, and you know I love you. She would have said, I love you more. But she didn't do that. No, she didn't do that. She knows that even if you're my favorite, I still love the other one. I still love my other auntie. She's still my friend. And then she made it open. I love the two of you the more. Even if in her mind she knows her favorite. Even if everyone is so obvious that everyone knows my sister is her favorite. But she didn't say it. That is her living her name. That is her using wisdom, her name, child of wisdom. That is her living it already. So the name you give your child is very, very important. Very, very important. You can't just wake up one day and just give your child any name and say it's okay, or what will be, all of those things. No. You need to be intentional as a parent in choosing wisely the name you give your child. You need to know about it, the meaning. You need to pray about it before you give your child name. And okay, like I said, okay, let me share. So there's this book called Nefertiti. So this book is about a young girl who is called Nefertiti. Her grandmother named her this name, Nefertiti, and it means a beautiful woman has come, something like that. So, and then her dad always and then the grandmother named her after the goddess of their town, you know. So her father always remind her, you are Nefertiti. Your name is Nefertiti. Remember, it means a beautiful woman has come. You are Nefertiti. Nefertiti. You know, she's proud of the name. Anytime they call her that name, it makes her feel good. It makes her feel, like on top of the world. She's so proud of the name and all that. So before you know, her dad registered her to a music class, a music lesson. So she started attending. The teacher, the first day, the teacher saw her. What's your name? She said Nefertiti. And the teacher, instead of pronouncing Nefertiti, the teacher just simply said Nef. You know, and anytime the teacher calls her Nef, what does she do? This child, she becomes so small. She becomes, she just becomes less of herself. She becomes very tiny. So the teacher kept calling the name until one day the teacher called the name again, Nef, and she couldn't take it anymore. She just ran away, went somewhere, hide, and she became so tiny. She was just crying and all that. And all of a sudden, it just dawned on her, no, you are Nefertiti. She just remembered her father's voice. You are Nefertiti. You are Nefertiti. And what did she do? She woke up, she stood up boldly and said, excuse me, my name is Nefertiti. You know, she had to teach the teacher how to pronounce her name. And the teacher had to learn how to pronounce her name. And after that, the teacher started calling her the right way, Nefertiti. So does your children, do they even know how to pronounce their name? Do they even love their name? You know, do they know how to pronounce it? Do they know the meaning of their name? Do they know how powerful their name is? So all of these things you're going to help your child, because the name you give your child is part of identity that you're giving your child. If your child does not know their name, I mean, what is it? That means your child doesn't have identity. So for your child to have identity, you need to give them a good name, because the name forms the child's identity. And also, that's how other people, like I said, will identify and communicate with them daily. The truth is, having an identity is a fundamental right for every child. This gives them the ability to enjoy their names. You know, just like me, I'm called Dumebi, Chuku Dumebi. Anytime people call me this name, like there's something inside my brain. It makes me feel special. It makes me feel so good. It makes me feel so happy. I don't know how to explain. There's this joy, like Chuku Dumebi. And my English name is Mary. In fact, there's one of my pastor. Every time he call me, I say no, call me Dumebi. You know. And there was a day I think he forgot. He just called me Chuku Dumebi. I said, God, you're going to have 10 stars from me. He said, no, I change it. You know. And this is a name everywhere, anywhere I go. Once they ask me, what's your name? I say Chuku Dumebi, or I say Dumebi, I like your name. Oh, your name is beautiful. Your name, or say maybe I'm walking with someone and someone else just call my name. Other people will just turn like they will turn like, who is that? Is your name Dumebi and all that? This name gave me a lot of applaud. It gave me a lot of recognition. So that name, I don't know about it. Just there's something about that name, Chukwudumebi. It's so unique. It's so special. There's something about it for me, and it's a name that was also given to me by my grandmother. You know, I know in some places, I think for first grandchildren, I think it's their grandparents that name them in some cultures or traditions. I don't know about yours. How does it work in your place? Is it your grandparents that give your first? My cousin too first child is her grandparent, her both grandparent parent that gave her name, Effie. Effie, I think it means words. So how does it work in your place? Put it in the comment section. So yeah. So dear parents, I would like you to know that giving your child a good name is is the responsibility you must take seriously to avoid future consequences for your innocent child. It's not, you can't just wake up one day and just give your child Chukuma or just all of those names like Jabez. You can't do that. You need to know the meaning of the name, or you, because of what happened to you, maybe during labor or the circumstances. I know of a parent, because I think immediately she got pregnant for the child, and then the father walked away. Immediately she told the father she was pregnant. The father said he's not taking responsibility. He should take it off, and she said no, and that was the end. And then because of that, she now gave the child very funny. I don't want to mention the name. She now gave that child very funny name, and I speak to you, that name, that circumstances is living with that child. Her name has a meaning. It has a role to play in your child's life and destiny. And we're talking about giving your child an identity. Part of identity you want to give your child is identity they will enjoy, not identity that will ruin their life, that will make them feel sad. No, that is not what we want. So any name you give your child will become their identifier for the rest of their life, unless they choose to change it. And I've seen a lot of people, I've seen people that are called Endurance and they've changed their name to Favor. We've seen all of those names, they just wake up and suddenly realize, no, this name, my life is not something is not right with my life. And it just dawned on them that is their name. And they just change it. So that is it. And sometimes changing this name is not always easy. Some don't have that capacity, don't have that courage, they don't even have that time to, because it takes a lot of process to change it, the documentation, legal documentation, and all of that. So some don't have that time, or they don't even know how to go about it. So in order for you don't want to put your child through all of those stress. So as a parent, it's your job to sit down and give your child a name that can form their identity. Also, I went to a craft shop. I went to a craft shop to get some crafts for my children. And after picking the things I went to the till to make payments. And the lady that was attending to me, I just looked at her badge. So they usually have this badge, and I saw Michelle. I said, "Oh wow, Michelle!" And this is the name Michelle. I don't know, for some reason I just love this name Michelle. In fact, there was a time I was saying, when I have my child, I don't know the meaning of the name. I'll give it to my child, but for some reason I just didn't, because I just love that name. And anyone I see call Michelle, I just admire them. So I said, "Oh wow, Michelle, I like your name." And she was like, "Oh, my name? Oh, it was my midwife. When they gave birth to me, my mother did not have my, and as I like your name, her countenance, everything about her changed. And she like saying, "Oh, the midwife gave it to me. When my mother gave birth to me, she didn't have a name for me." She was saying it. She wasn't saying it with pride. She wasn't saying it happy. She was saying it sad. You can feel, you can tell, you can feel it that she was not happy. Her mother did not have a name for her, so the midwife that attended to her mom, was called Michelle. So she had to name her after, name her after her own self, you know. And she's not angry or she's not sad because um the midwife gave her that name, or she didn't like the name. She's just sad because her mother did not have a name for her. How can you have a child? You carry a child for good 9 months and you did not have a name. That according to her, the mom said she didn't want any other child again. I think she was the seventh child already. She had, the mom had six already, so she was the seventh child. The mother didn't have any child again, and suddenly she realized she was pregnant. So she herself, she was not happy, and because of that, she did not prepare. She didn't prepare. So I think that is the sadness of the lady, that her mother did not give her a name, or did not have a name, did not make preparation. Meaning she just felt like she wasn't wanted and all that. So I was like, okay, do you like your name? She was like, I said, you can change it, you can change it. And the thing is, it has already formed her identity. Now, everywhere she goes to, everyone already identify her as Michelle. They call her workplace, her home, family, everywhere, Michelle. And imagine hearing what, every time they call her, it will remind her that her parents or her mom didn't have a name for her. It will remind her that she was not wanted. So I encourage her, you can still change your name, you can change your name, you can give yourself a name that is befitting for you, a lovely name. It doesn't matter whether your mother gave you a name or not. You can choose to give yourself a name because you're an adult now. And it reminds me of last week Sunday, we talked about um mother. Every woman is a mother. And we said there are still some persons, there are some women that didn't have this mothering in them. They didn't have a mother to train them, to raise them. But you can choose, you can raise yourself, you can mother yourself. It doesn't matter whether you have a mother or not, you can still raise yourself, can still mother yourself, those things you miss out. So I encourage her, you can still change your name, but it's not always easy. So for us to avoid all of these things, we need to be intentional as parents to give our children a name. I need to rush. So give your child, okay, sorry. Okay, also see the story of Jabez in the Bible, what does his name mean? Pain. Imagine giving your child Cain as a name. You know why? Because according to her, she gave birth to him in pain. So because you gave birth to a child in pain, you now name the child Jabez. You now name the child Cain, right? And see his life and everything until he prayed his way through. So you can still, irrespective of the name you are giving to your child, you can still change it. You can still change, you can still turn it around. You can still change it. It's not too late before it will form an identity for your child, or before it will be nearly too late for your child. So you can see how his life was branded with pain. His identity was tied to hardship and suffering. Why? Because his mother gave him pain, just because of his name. Until he prayed his life out from it, his life didn't have any meaning. It was more of pain and hardship. So the truth is, names are prophetic and are powerful. It reflects your child's identity. So be mindful of the names you call your children. You don't just want to wake up one morning and just give them one funny name, or you don't want to do that. You need to be intentional, because the name you give to your child, it will be part of them, and it will be self-fulfilling prophecy for them. So be intentional. And the third form of identity you can give to your child is cultural identity. Someone please let me put it in the comment section. Cultural identity. There was a day I went to school to pick my son up. I saw this lovely lady, very lovely lady, British. You can tell this child was a British girl, you know, and I knew she was a Nigerian. So I said, "Hi, how are you?" "Oh, hi." And I saw her that day for the first time. So I said, "Oh, hi, how are you? What's your name?" She mentioned it. And because I schooled in Edo State, so I knew that name was from Edo State, because it was, I think it was SAS or Osagwe, something like that. But I know it was either Osas or Osagwe. So I knew it was from Edo State. So I said, "Oh, where are you from?" She said she's British. I said, "Oh, I know you're British. Where are you from originally?" She said, "Nigeria." I said, "Oh, I know you're Nigerian. So where are you, like, what part of Nigeria?" She said Edo. Did she say Edo State? Okay, I think she said Edo State. So I was like, what part of Edo? Because I know Benin, I know. So she didn't know. She didn't know. She was like, she doesn't know. So I'm like, oh, okay, that's fine. I'll give you an assignment. Go home, go and ask your parents where you are from originally, you know. And when next I see you, you share with me. She was like, okay, that's fine. Then she said, thank you. But fortunately, she was an agency staff, so I didn't get to see her again. So for that child, imagine where are you from? The first thing that came out from her mouth was, I'm British. Was she really British? Originally, was she British? Even if she was born here, she was born and bred here, she's not British. Her identity is not British. Her origin is not British. So part of you giving that child identity is letting them know where they are from originally. Let them know their roots. Let them know where they are coming from. That is you giving your child identity. Identity. So this 23 years old girl in UK, okay, sorry. Now, let's see, how do you give your child a cultural identity? First is, remember, the third form of identity we're talking about now is cultural identity. Now, let's see how we can give our children this cultural identity. First is by telling them stories about their culture, sharing folk tales, tell them about your family history, the legends, and even, all of those things. Just tell them. And the thing is, you see these stories of a thing, our grandparents, they are very good at telling stories. I remember when my grandmother was alive, she would tell us stories upon stories and upon stories. So if you have grandparents, get them to do this job. You don't have to be the one to do it. Tell them they should call even if they're not here with you, call them on phone. Let them tell your children these stories, of their origin. Because if they know, the more you tell them, the more you are forming their identity, their cultural identity, the more they are knowing where they are from. Because you can't just a full grow, where are you from? I'm British. What's that? What's that? Also, and then tell them about your childhood, and how life has been different. Compare your childhood then and now. I was telling my children the other day how I used to go to farm, how I used to go to school by myself and all that. They were like, "Oh, really? Oh, you really are not." It was so interesting for them to know all of those things. Get like I said, get your grandparents to do this. If you don't have grandparents, if you don't have grandparents, get your partners, your husband or your wife parent to do it. And if both of you don't have grandparents, what do? You go to church. You have communities. Get a grandparent figure. Get a grandparent figure to play this role. Go look for any elder person in your church. Say, oh, please, can you play grandmother role for my children? They will be glad to do so. All they need to do, tell them stories, read books for them. You know, that's it. I have my church, the church I attend, my children have two grandparents in that church. It's not because I want, so I have grandparents, my both parents are alive, but then they are not here with me. So I needed someone that they are seeing that can still play that physical role for them. They talk to my parents every now and then, like literally every day. They do video calls, they tell them stories and all that. But I still need physical because they've not seen them. But then wisdom demands I still get someone that's physical, people they are seeing that can still play that role so they don't miss out on that aspect of their childhood or aspects of me forming an identity for them. Also, teach them how to eat and how to cook your traditional food. Remember, food is identity on a plate. Cook your cultural dishes together. Teach them the names, the ingredients you're using for your food, and even the stories behind the dishes. You know, like my mom, the other day I was telling them how the other day we were cooking momo in my house here. And then I was telling my children how my mother, that's their own grandmother, used to cook momo. And my mom have a special way of cooking momo. The fish, the crayfish. Usually you put the momo in the cup and then or in the paper, whatever you're using, and then you put the fish, you put crayfish, isn't it? No. My mom will mix everything together. I'll pour everything in the momo bowl and mix everything. And then I'll ask her, why are you always doing it like this? Why not put it? She said no, that she doesn't want anyone to feel cheated. So that is me teaching them, tradition, culture, and then involve them in cultural practices, take them to cultural events, festivals, weddings, naming ceremony, teach them how to dance your cultural dance, teach them, let them wear your traditional clothes with pride, with honor, with dignity. Like next month, we're having cultural day in church. Like I'm so looking forward to it, because it will be another opportunity for me and my children to wear our traditional attire, and then you will see different traditions, different cultures with that. Oh my God, it's always very lovely. So that is part of you giving your children an identity, cultural identity. Teach them how to speak your language. I know I'm very like this is my biggest challenge. Teaching them how to speak my language. They know the like the good morning, good afternoon, but I really need to work on this. But if you have what it takes, please, it's very important. Teach them your language. Let them learn it. Let them speak it. If possible, bind speaking English in your house. Make your language compulsory. And before you know, they'll just learn it. Like good morning, ndewo, kwekwano, all of those things. Just greet them. Sing song in your local dialect. Speak your languages at home and just make it fun and not force. Remember, children does not learn in force or when you force them. Make it fun. Anything you do with fun, children learn and they enjoy it. And at the end of the day, it's all about fun for them. Now take them home if you can. If you can, if you have the means, take them home. Let them see this is where I came from. This is our hometown. This is your uncle's uncle, father. Take them home. Let them see. Take them to your palace. Take them to all those take them home. Let them see what it's like. You know, and so they can have an identity. They'll know where they are from. And remember, culture is not something you just tell your child. It is something you help your children experience. They need to experience it. They need to feel it. They need to see it. They need to live it. When it comes to culture, you don't just teach it to your child. No, instead, you live it, you love it, and you pass it on to them through intentional parenting. And that is you parenting with wisdom. The other time we talked about parenting with wisdom. This is you parenting with wisdom. And the fourth form of identity is personal or intellectual identity. Identity comes when you spend quality time with your children. This helps you bond. This helps you bond with them. This helps you connect with them. This helps you understand who your child is. It helps you observe and watch their natural strengths, their struggles, their likes, their dislikes, and how they learn as well. And it also helps you know what they do effortlessly. What are those things? You're through observing them, through just watching them. You can tell easily what does this child do effortlessly? What are those things they enjoy? What do they like? What do they not like? How do they play with others? It is through watching them, and you can't watch a child that you are not spending time with. So spending time with your child is also a way to give them um personal or intellectual identity. Now, the truth is, many of us, we don't even know who we are raising. We don't know who we are raising. We don't know who our child is. And now, how are you able to raise a child you don't know? How are you able to give them identity? A child you don't know, how do you give them identity? A child you're not spending time with, how do you give them identity? Some children have talents that you can't see on report card. On report card, you not see A's, you not see B, you not even see C, you not even see D. You know, and many of us, we believe until we see all those A parallel, B parallel. That is our children. That's the way to that is we helping them see their talent. No, some children, their talent is in their mouth, some is in their hands. My laptop broke down last week. The guy that repaired it, in fact, he's the one that helps me with my YouTube and all of these things. There's something I noticed about him. Anything when it comes to hand, I think yesterday when I picked the laptop, I was calling him that your hand is gifted hands. Like he's so good with his hand. Anything he like his hand is just always I'm like wow. If only his parents noticed it, if only his parents observed him, they watched him when he was young. Do you know where he would have been by now? you know I was just like wow. I could just tell. I didn't need anyone to tell me that he has his hand is gifted hand. So some their power, their talent is in their hand, some is in their voice, some is in their dancing, is in their play. So it's your job to know it, to understand it. And then how do you do it? It is through spending time with them. And many a times we focus or we pay all of our attentions on academic grades, our child, and then at the end of the day, it's leading us to compare our children with other children. Your child will come with their school reports, and the next thing you're asking is, what did your friend have? Is it about your friend, or is it about their friend, or about your child? You know. So to give your child the gift of an identity, you must spend time to watch and observe how your child play, how they handle challenges, how they handle their struggles, so you are able to support and guide them. Because it's when you observe all these things, that's when you know what to do. And that is part of you giving your child a parenting advantage. You can't give a child a parenting advantage when you don't know what you're doing, when you don't have the knowledge. You can't do that. It's not possible. So you need to know what you're doing before you can give your child that gift. You can support your child, you can guide them. And again, if you don't know these things, like I said, the word will teach them, the word will tell them who they are. And I believe that is not what we want. We don't want the world to play our roles in the life of our children. We don't want the world to tell our children who they are. No, it is your responsibility and my responsibility to teach our children, to observe our children and help them in these regards. So spending quality time with your child should not be time spent on comparing, criticizing, nagging, and all of that. No. Giving your child an identity means you must focus on their strengths, their positive behaviors, because whatever you focus on, they will thrive. If you keep focusing on their negative side, they will thrive. But if you focus on their strengths, and then from their strengths, you can help them manage their weaknesses. That's how it works. Also, yeah. Also, giving your child identity is through you as a parent intentionally putting discipline them, putting system, principles, consequence, putting all of these things in place, and um, also being firm as a parent, and at the same time being warm. It is part of you giving your child what? An identity. I'm trying to rush. And the fifth one is social identity. Social identity. Socialization is one of the gifts you can give your child, or one of the skills you can help your child learn. Because you see, this great skill, it will help them in a lifetime. You need to prepare them for life by intentionally teaching them how to build relationship. Remind them that they are not an island of themselves. Remind them that we all need people to survive. We can't do this world alone. No, you need people to survive. You need people in this world to live in this world. And also remind your children, emphasize it that you are not their friends. You are not their friends. Your children are not your friends. Because sometimes we rob every time you're my friend, sometimes we rob them of that opportunity of making their own friends, of having their own friends. Of remember, another form of identity is social identity. So if you're not giving your child the opportunity to make friends, that means you are robbing them of that social identity that you're supposed to give them. Like the other day, or many a times when my son, especially if he's not having his way, the next thing is, you're not gonna ever be my friend again. I said, excuse me, I'm not your friend. I am your mother. I'm not your friend, and I can never be your friend. You're not ever, he will say so angry, you're not ever gonna be my friend again. I said, excuse me, I'm not your friend. You know your friends. I have my friends. I am your mother, not your friend. So remind your children every day that you are not their friend. You are only a tool. Friendship, you only use friendship as a tool, to raise them, but you are not your children's friend. So always remind them of that fact so that it will give them the opportunity to make their own friends. And you need to teach them how to make friends. And the truth is, when it comes to this friendship of a thing, some children, it comes natural for them. Like you see a child, they will enter here before you know everyone there is their friend instantly, like they become their friends. Why some? It will take them forever to make friends or to even speak up to someone. So for those ones that are social butterfly, your job now is to help them to choose their friends wisely, to be smart, to be discerning in the kind of people they call their friends. Otherwise, everybody will be their friends or they will make foolish friends. And also remind them this scripture that says, he who walks with the fool will become fool, but he who walks with the wise will be what? They'll be wise. And also the ones that you know that it takes them ages, this is your role to play. Teach them how to say hi, practice it, how to say hello, how to look into someone's eyes, how to initiate greeting, how to be the one to first say hi. Oh, hi, what's your name? Oh, my name is, role play it, and gradually, this is your role. This is why they need you in their life, you know, and then let them know that, okay, I've talked about this. So another way you can achieve this is by taking them out. Take them out. Take them out. You can't lock a child. Like I always say, your room is too small to raise your child. Except you are raising your child for your house. If you are raising a child for the world, your house is too small. So take them out. Take them out. Take them to places. It is taking them for holiday, taking them to, different parts of the world. It is not what is this word now? It is not it's a need for your child. Let me put it that way. It's a need, it's part of education. It's very important. Expose them to the world. Do not lock them, because part of you exposing them to the world is part of you giving them social identity, helping them adapt to new environments, adapting with the food, what to look out for when they're in a new place, how to blend in a new community and all of that. This is the role you need to play. And by doing this, you're giving your child the gift of social identity. And then the sixth one, I'm really rushing, God help me. Sixth one is gender identity. Does your child have a sense of who they are, or are they confused? Is the word teaching them otherwise? You know what I mean? Does your child know he's a boy or a girl? Are they proud of who they are as a being? Are they proud of who they are? Or they are not sure, or they are just, they are in between. Do they love themselves? You can give your child a gender identity by reminding them of the creation of God. When God created everything, what did he say? He looked at everything he has created. He said it was good and beautiful. So remind your child that everything about him He's included in the creation of God. God created him. He did not create himself. And always remind him that he is good and he is beautiful. He is good, he is beautiful. Your child is good and your child is beautiful, just the way they are. Remind them that people can choose to become whatever they want. It is their choice. You don't have power to tell people not to do what they want to do. But you know yourself. You know that there are some certain things you can't do. You know your values. That is where values comes into place. And let them know that when they see such people, you can pray for them. They see a boy that decided that is dressing like a girl. That is not the time to start saying, I hate you or I don't like you. That is not it. Teach them. They can pray for them. Like a parent called me recently and said one of his son's friend in school, is starting to dress like a girl and the child is saying he wants to be a girl and so all of that. So what would they do? You know, he said they can pray for the child at home. So all of you hold hands and just pray. And they did it. As God will have it. This time now, she called and say, "Oh, the child, nothing like that again. It's not dressing normal and everything." So imagine if their own child is going and say, "I hate you, I do this and all of that." No, that is not it. You don't have right to say all those things. It is not in your place, and you can be in trouble because of that. So okay. So tell them about their body, and also let your children know who they are. Let them know that all these things are happening and they are real, they are everywhere. Instead of shielding them from them or hiding it. Remember, there's power in first tell. So be the first person that your children will hear all these things from. Equip them. Because the truth is, they will see it, they will hear it. If they are not equipped before they even see it, or if they are not, if you have not done your job as a parent, if they hear it from maybe their friends or someone else, they will believe that person more, or they will believe that person first before you now come and start explaining and all that. No, you want to be the first person. You want to be the first tell. There's power in first tell. Let them hear these things that people can choose to become what they are. People are doing. Show them pictures. Let them see it. And when you now equip them with knowledge, you equip them with information to the extent that when they go out there, when they see it, or when their friends or people are telling them otherwise, because you've already equipped them, because you already told them, because they already know, they've heard it, they already are aware of it. Nobody will come and tell them otherwise because you have done your job by being the first person to tell them and also by equipping them. And also tell them that their body, who they are, and like tell them who they are, like look into their eyes and say, I love you, like constantly affirm them, look into their eyes and say, I love you because you're my baby boy. I love you because you're my baby girl. By saying it, you are, giving them that gender identity. You are reaffirming who they are, you know. Also, the other day, I was watching somebody's status and she shared, I think she was having, I don't know whether story or something, they were reading, and the child said, oh, uh, whether he wants to be a boy, is a boy, whether he wants to be a girl, something like that. And immediately she said, God forbid, where did you learn that from? And the child said, from Peppa Pig. I saw it. They always sing your Peppa Pig. And the mother, God forbid, if you're not watching Peppa Pig anymore, bind it And then she now shared it on her status and she wrote, God will help us. So these children of these days, the way they are learning or what they are learning and all that. I just smiled. I just smiled because she would have used that opportunity as a great teachable moment to teach her child. Imagine she just shunned the child, she yelled at the child, and she ended, God forbid, and then you're not watching it anymore. Now, how has she played her role as a parent? How had she helped her child to learn? you know so that is the thing. So in conclusion, I'm really rushing. A big part of a child's identity is their values, and this is why we say, as an intentional parent, as soon as you start an intentional parenting journey, you need to have a family value. Your children needs to know what your family stands for, what your family believe, what they are known for. Is it integrity? Is it honesty? Is it leadership? Whatever it is, your children needs to know it, and they need to be deeply rooted in it. So what do they value? What do they think is important to them? Also, What do they think is right and wrong? That's why this part of our identity, or this part of a child's identity, is called their core value. Core value. Also, some parts of a child's identity will stay the same all through their entire life, like it will not change. Things like where they are from, where they came from, their skin color, all these things, it might not change. It will just be there. But things like the dress, their thoughts, it might change as they grow old and learn more about themselves and the world. So every child should be proud of their identity, because their identity is who they are. And then for them to be proud of their identity, you as a parent, you need to give them all of these forms of identity. Remember, one piece, if it's missing, you cannot make it whole. Like the ingredient we talked about, cake, you need all of those things to be able to make a cake. If one ingredient is missing, imagine you want to make a cake, there's no milk or there's no butter, you can't make cake. So that is it. For your child to have an identity, a form of an identity, all of these forms needs to be included. So dear parents, I would like you to know that the identity you give your child will become their stance. It will form the way your child sees life, the way your child handles life challenges. It will form an engine for your child's confidence. With this, your child is able to make informed choices and decisions for themselves. For themselves. I hope someone have learned something today. What is that thing? What is that thing you have learned? Child's identity. And we named, I think we talked about, is it five? No, six forms of identity we can give to a child. Which one resonates with you the more? Which one can you remember? Which of the forms of identity can you remember? And when we say identity, child's identity, what comes to your mind? What is that thing that comes to your mind? Please put it in the comment section. I have 4 people here live. So can I see the comment section bubbling? Can I see what is that thing that you have learned? What is that thing you are taking home? Child's identity. Talked about different forms of identity. The name you give your child is what will shape who they are, who they will become in future. It's how the world will see them, it's how the world will communicate to them, it's how they will see themselves. Are they proud of their name? Do they love their name? Do they feel good when you call them their name? Do they even know the meaning of their name? Do they know how to pronounce the name? What name have you given to your child, or what name do you call your child? Someone like my son Golden. If you call he's so when you ask what's your name, the way he Golden, like the way you if you make me someone was calling him the other day Gordon. Gordon. We were like, no, that's not my name. My name is Gold. Like he's so proud of his name because he knows he's a golden child. He's not just a child, but a golden child. He knows his name. He knows the meaning. He knows. He said, Golden, what's the meaning of your name? He'll tell you I'm special. He knows he's special. He's not just like every other child. And he's so proud of his name. He's very proud. He's very confident of his name, Golden. Does the child know their name? Do they know the meaning of their name? Are they proud of their name? How do they feel? What do they feel when you call them their name? And perhaps you're giving them a name that they are not so that you're not proud of, or maybe because of situation or circumstance, you can still change it. You have time to change it. Remember, you still have power to change intentionally change it. You still have the time. Don't say, there's nothing I can do. No, that is why you are their mother. That is you giving them um a parenting advantage. A parenting advantage. Give your child the gift of a parenting advantage. Thank you so much for joining me. Name identity is very important. Yes, no two children are the same. Absolutely. I love this story. The last time you read it. Yes, thank you. Name has a long way to go. Absolutely. Name, identity, identity, identity. Yes. Thank you so much, all every one of you, for joining me. Thank you. I've honestly enjoyed this live. Thank you for doing it with me. Honestly, I don't think I would have been able to do this live without you. Thank you so much for your time. I do not take it for granted. I hope you have learned something, and I hope you're going to run with what you have learned today, because at the end of the day, if we don't implement what we have learned, if we're not putting them into practice, well, if we're not being intentional in the things we're learning, there's no point learning it. So I'm speaking to you, I'm speaking to myself. And every time I do this live, it reminds me of my role as a mother. It reminds me of what I need to do. It puts me in check, so we're all in this together, and it's a journey. As I'm parenting my children, you two, you're parenting your journey, and we're doing it together so that at the end of the day, we'll raise, like I said, holistic child. We don't want to raise children that are half big. They are maybe socially they are good, academically they are good, but spiritually they are not there, socially they are not there. No, we want to raise a holistic child, children that will strive in every area of their life. That is how a puzzle is. A puzzle, one piece of puzzle cannot make a whole, and it cannot make a puzzle. No. So we need to be intentional in the things we do. And all of it is in the little things we do on daily basis, daily basis. So let's be intentional. And I trust that God Almighty will help us. So thank you once again for joining me in this life. I really appreciate you. Like I said, I've enjoyed it. And yeah, next week, 2 weeks, next week, and then upper week, we're not going to have life because the children are on holiday. So, and it's Easter break too. So I like to have a break. Then we'll come back in 2 weeks' time. So thank you, and then I'll see you all in 2 weeks' time. Thank you so much. If you're going to catch replay, please do so because you want to be intentional parents. You want to give your child the gift of a parenting advantage. And I'll see you all in 2 weeks' time. Thank you so much. Bye.